Hello, beautiful, wonderful people. Hi, thank you so much for coming along to the show. I appreciate you all being here. As we go around, so the last few weeks we've been doing like a little like, oh hey, what's your favorite blank of blank? This episode is what is your favorite film from 2004? And I will tell you what my favorite film is from 2004 after I do a little introduction. Hello, beautiful, wonderful people. How are you doing? My name is Matt Captain Crail on all things. If you go on a social media, who knows what social media we're going to be using now, considering this is like, we're recording this like a month in advance, and that we might be using something that hasn't even been invented yet. But if you type in Captain Crail, I'm sure that I'll be on it. I GM this. If after you watch this or whilst you're watching it, you're like, damn, I wish I could hear this if it was like shaved down and added music and no mechanics talk in it, well, you can do that. You just have to search the Atomless on any form of podcasting app, and you can listen to our award-nominated 3 times Atomless show. I had to get that in at some point. Everyone bullies me when I don't say we're award-nominated. Okay. My favorite film, 2004. Now, this is hard because I personally believe that this year is bonkers good for movies. But I might have to go super, super basic and say iRobot, because I fucking love iRobot. Personally, me, I think it's great. I think it's cool as hell. I watched it so many times when it came out. I love the line that the robot says about can you make a work of art? I think that's really cool, and it's cool. I like little robot sci-fi, and I think it was Will Smith during his like minor renaissance back in when he also did I Am Legend at that time as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
that was
good.
his dramatic era.
It was his dramatic era. Oh yeah, he also did The Pursuit of Happiness like right around that time, and I think he did Hitch like 2 years after this. So truly his dramatic era renaissance. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, that's mine. We're gonna just bounce down the our little square that we have here. So, Dylan, introduce yourself. What is your film of 2004? And then we're gonna do Norden, Momo, and then Andre. And that's
okay. Well, I'm Dylan, super Dylan, everywhere on the internet. No matter where we are, that's where we'll be. You should be using she, he, and they pronouns when you talk shit about me. And I am a game designer and actual paid performer seen here on the Atomless. Favorite movie from 2004. I was obsessed with and still am obsessed with. I will watch this movie like when I'm sick or like when I just am lying around the house on a rainy day. I watch it a ton of times. Saved.
Saved?
Saved. It was if you haven't seen it,
I've never even heard of it.
Oh my God, it's a great comedy. I grew up in a born again Christian toxicity environment. It's a very cathartic movie if you grew up in that, because it is a critique of that with Mandy Moore as like the leader of the cool Christian girl clique in a high school, and what's her name? The girl next door. I know that's not her name. No. Fudge. What is her name? Jenna Malone.
Yes.
Jenna Malone is a former devout Christian who thinks she needs to save her boyfriend from his homosexuality by having sex with him and gets pregnant and then gets ostracized from the whole school. And Macaulay Culkin's in it. There is it's honestly it's a funny movie, and it's a genuinely decent critique of that kind of religious extremism that infiltrates high schools and preys on the vulnerabilities of young teenagers. So it's a win-win for me in my opinion. Anyway.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hopping over to Norden.
Hello, my name is Nordin Likadir, also known as Werewolf Feels all over the interwebs. My pronouns are he, him. You may find me on the interwebs. I assure you that is me. But at the same time, I may not be active because sometimes I just take a break and then I hide. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I play a Zom. whose pronouns are, I guess, also he, him. And my film from 2004 was a great. Look, a lot of people are going to say niche stuff. I'm not going to do niche stuff, I promise. But 2004 is a great year for those who are a fan of like reimagined fairy tales.
You are correct in what you're just about to say.
Oh yeah.
This could cause a war. But out of the reimagined fairy tale films that happened in 2004, my absolute favorite has to be Ella Enchanted, starring Anne Hathaway. It was
good. I haven't seen it.
It's so
Dylan.
fun.
Really?
Say that. You can't say that to me, Dylan. I don't have time for a movie night right now.
Okay, it's going on the list. All right.
Hey, can we watch it? You can't watch it. Can we watch it together?
I'll watch it with you.
It's so
I'll
good.
make time.
Every time I get a comment on any of my posts that's like Ella Enchanted vibes, I'm like, thank you. That's what I strive for.
Wow. Wow.
It's genuinely, first off, it's a great reimagining of like the Cinderella fairy tale. It just is, and I will not take any bad
so
comments
excited.
about that. But also, the world building is surprisingly incredible. You know, like sure they have weird stuff like wooden escalators in this fantasy world, but at the same time, like
Sure.
But it's
the
like
way
it's Knight's Tale fun.
exactly the relationship between the giants
love that.
and other cultures.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking too much about it, but I love that film. It's one of my favorite films.
Wow, I'm sold. I'm ready. It's on the list.
Yeah.
Norden TED Talk about Ella Enchanted.
I will say this, you know, when it comes to like the Amazon Prime Cinderella that just came out and Disney Cinderella just came out, a lot of them are either play by numbers or they're
Right.
just trying to hit every beat they possibly can. Whereas Ella Enchanted, there is no like glass slipper, but it's still a Cinderella story. And it achieves that by making you understand that the core to the Cinderella story is kind of the abuse that she receives from
Right.
those in her family and her desperation to just be free of it. It has nothing to
Right.
do with the prince, but the prince is a nice side character. It's one of my favorite things. Anyway, I'm done. I'm done.
Very
Love
good.
that.
A cracking choice.
Yeah.
Momo. Can't hear you,
Brian?
babe.
Muted.
I don't know why.
There
Do
we
I
go.
just need to speak
Hello.
up?
No, you're there. Yeah.
I'll
we
get
can hear you
real
now.
close. Hello, my name is Momo O'Brien. You can find me everywhere at Momo_O'Brien. If anyone takes that handle on any up and coming social media platform, it's personal, and I will be upset about it. Don't do it. My favorite film from 2004, and it is one of my favorite films of all time, is A Series of Unfortunate Events. I feel I must
Oh, wow.
explain. So I know that it's apparently not very accurate to the books. I never read the books, and I think that is why that I can view it in such a positive light. And I know that the series apparently follows the books much better. That's fine. This is very much from the experience of someone who has not read the books. I watched it as a kid, and I was like, what a fun film. What a great time. Classic adventure. Had a great time. I watched it recently as a PMSing adult and cried 3 times because I recognized that the whole thing is essentially an allegory for the grief of losing a loved one and healing from that grief. Like, if you pay attention, you notice that all of the children, even when they talk to the other characters, the characters are talking about people that they've lost or you know, the trauma that they've been through because they lost someone unexpectedly. And the use of color in that film is just absolutely phenomenal. The set's incredible. It's one of my favorite films of all time. And I'm just, this is my TED Talk. If you have not watched it recently or watched it close to reading the books and we're like, thing different, therefore thing bad, give it another chance. Because God, it is one of the most beautiful pieces of cinema I think I have ever seen. I love it.
Mo watched
Wow.
it. Mo watched it,
Holy
wept 3
shit.
times, and then demanded that I watch it with her like the same day, and then wept again consistently throughout the movie.
If you're old enough to understand the allegory, I think you may weep too. You may be surprised. That is all.
All right. This is it. For all the marbles. Andre, what are we going for?
All right, gang. I gotta be real. 2004 is not my year for movies. It's just there's a lot of very famous, like well-regarded movies, but this was just not a year that I was like, oh my god, film. Not helped by the fact that I was like 5 for most of it. If I had to choose, this was a weird year for animation. This was the year that Home on the Range released, which was the last 2D animated Disney movie for a while until Princess and the Frog came out in 2009. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie came out this year, which was a really big TV movie that was released in theaters.
Love that movie.
The Incredibles came out, which was a
Mhm.
fantastic outing from
Mhm.
Pixar. And I think if most people had to choose a best animated film of this year, it would be Shrek 2, which is
Oh, wow.
a phenomenal sequel. But I would like to argue there is mayhaps a sequel that didn't even come out in theaters. This was direct to video. It is the seminal classic Lion King 1.5.
Oh my god. Lion King 1.5 is the movie that Andre has proselytized the most to me, I think. I think that
It is stupidly well animated for a directed DVD. This was the same company that did all the directed DVD Disney sequels, and it looks like actual Disney. It is stupidly well animated.
so funny.
It expands on the characters of Timon and Pumbaa in a way that I think was very well needed. I loved Timon and Pumbaa in the first movie, but they definitely benefit greatly from having an expanded relationship, seeing Timon's family, his kind of story of like being an outcast and finding out kind of his Hakuna Matata, and just it's the best. Not only is it in my opinion, the best sequel of 2004, the best animated film of 2004. It's also the best Disney directed video sequel. Fuck you, Cinderella 3 fans. Looking at you. Not a joke. People do say that's the best one.
People do.
I will say Digatana is one of my favorite Disney songs that's still stuck in my head.
Absolute earworm of that song.
What would you say if I was like, Home on the Range was my favorite 2004?
Mo, we need to talk.
Norden, I thought
An
you were
intervention.
gonna say Ginger Snaps back. Did you like the Ginger Snaps movies? I wasn't sure.
I did enjoy them. I had a lot of there's a lot that was just talking about. Spider-Man 2, which is probably the
Spider-Man 2.
best Spider-Man film out there. I know someone's gonna hate me for that. I don't care.
You're correct, though. You are
No,
right.
You're
Thank
right.
you. Thank you. But also
Can you say that one more time for me, just so I can register?
Spider-Man 2, which is the best Spider-Man movie out there.
Oh, but this isn't counting the Into the Spider-Verses. I do have to state.
No, it's not counting into
The-
the
Yeah, the Peter
that was my
Parker
Peter Parker.
lead led.
Correct. Yes.
Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Parker, yes.
We're talking about like live action. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ugh.
This was also the year of like Soul Plane, Mean Girls.
That's I would have bet money that Mean Girls would have been put on said by someone.
It aged like milk.
It did age
It's
like milk,
so
but
horrible
it has such a cultural grasp
It does.
on
it does.
people that
Oh yeah.
Even like this was the year like a Cinderella Story came out this year, the one with Hilary Duff. Everyone's favorite DC movie, Catwoman, came out this year.
I didn't know Catwoman came out. That's mad. I watched that film so many times. It definitely formed me a lot more than I'm willing to say, I bet.
I would like to ask, how old were you?
This is 2004. I would have been 11.
I wonder why you watched Catwoman a lot.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was forming me a lot. Speaking of things that formed me, Shark Tale also came out this year.
I thought that was gonna be your
I knew-
segue into
I-
the episode, and I
I
That
don't
would
have
be
time
funny.
to get into how fucking weird of a movie Shark Tale is.
so
Why
weird.
is it so racial?
I forget what
It's weird.
I
It
forget
is.
what I was watching. It might have been the Dark Crystal series, but I was like, I need like a fucking palate cleanser before I return to reality. And I think I put on Shark Tale and I had to turn it off like 10 minutes in because I was like, this is a lot. This
Yeah.
is
But then
I
we
gotta-
watched it again. I was like, I love Shark Tale, so I sat you down to watch it because it's dreadful and I think it's
Oh,
great.
I'm so sorry, Mo.
Howl's Moving Castle also came out this year, according to Google.
Not my personal favorite Miyazaki movie, but I understand.
But
I just watched it. It's actually, I understand. I get compared to Howl a lot, and I take offense to that. But I also get it. This was also the year. I just learned this. This was also the year the Polar Express came out.
oh shit,
Sure.
I love the Polar Express.
No, stop.
I watched that for the I watched
Stop
that film
it.
for the first time like 2 years ago, and it immediately became one of my top Christmas movies. I think it rules. It's Christmas. You can't have a good Christmas movie, except for Spirited. Spirited is phenomenal.
Muppets Christmas Carol.
Most
Uh,
just-
Thank
there
you.
yeah,
are
that's
so
true.
many
The voice
actually.
of reason.
That's
There
I
are
mean,
so
that
many
was my
actually
favorite.
good Christmas movies. I'm sorry to report.
Polar Express is
not
fun.
one.
Polar Express
It's
is just a
creepy.
roller coaster ride. Yeah, it's fun. It's weird. It's creepy. Tom
Go
Hanks.
away,
Like-
you CG animated nerd boy who's way too close to the camera all the time.
I do feel like people maybe get distracted by the poorly aged CGI a little bit too much in their critique. Like there is more to the movie than the uncanny valley motion capture CGI.
I like it. Day After Tomorrow also came out this year. Day After Tomorrow is a fun little romp.
Oh yeah, that movie did not sit right with me. I could not look at the sky for
Oh, yeah?
a while. Yeah, I really to this day I have a little bit of anxiety if I look too much or think too much about weather. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't really like the realities of what's happening up there. I can't deal with it. Yeah.
That's very funny.
It's a year. It's a year. National
Yeah.
Treasure.
First National Treasure.
National Treasure is
Huge.
a banger family film.
It is.
Huge.
Also, speaking of films that you probably don't want to watch with your family, Kinsey came out this year.
Oh yeah. Oh my
I didn't know
god.
that.
I saw that with the hottest date ever. She took me to see Kinsey and then she took me out for gelato after.
So
Not
nice.
not the year it came out, several years later. But yeah, that was a big
Love
deal. It was a big deal.
13 going on 30 also came out this year.
Mhm.
which is
Yeah,
good.
honorable mention to 13
little
going on
romp.
30, which I just rewatched like when I was sick earlier this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's another sick day movie for me.
That's a good sick day movie.
Yeah.
I'm just really quickly trying to like shoot through these things before we get started. But yeah, there's also the Disney Three Musketeers, which was a lot of fun. I do like
Oh,
that one.
yeah.
Also, the first fucking Harold and Kumar movie came out this year. Talk
Mhm.
about
Oh, shit.
talk about cultural
s-
staying. Scooby Doo
Also-
2.
My timeline, my internal timeline is putting that earlier. That's interesting. Cool.
I also think the first Saw movie came out this
It
year.
did. An absolutely
Ugh.
like
And we were
linchpin
never
of
free.
linchpin of
Also-
horror cinema.
Because Saw went until those fucking Murder Day movies started and just passed the baton.
The
and we're
Purge?
just- The Purge, yeah.
Okay,
Saw,
all right,
It was
all right.
Saw and then
No,
the
no, no, no,
Purge.
no, 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 no. I'm not having the Purge related to Saw. The Purge rules. Not having that. We'll have this later. Andre, you were saying?
Yes. I also wanted to shout out a great Paul Giamatti movie that came out in 2004, Sideways. If you've seen that,
Yeah,
Haven't.
Sideways is good. I forgot
great
about
movie.
that movie. Wow.
Hotel Rwanda came out this year.
I don't know that one
Wow.
either.
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that movie. Jeez.
And The Butterfly Effect, which is also fun. I don't like the movie, but I think the
I
concept
didn't
is fun.
introduce myself. Hi, I'm Andre. I just went straight into Lion King 1.5. I'm Andre. You can find me at Andre Vera Art on whatever fucking hellscape we're stuck in next in cyberspace, as well as my personal haven of a website, andrerivera.art, where you can see my illustration portfolio, the games I've designed, and all the actual plays I'm in, including The Atomless, and Tragedy of Theologian, and Streets of Gotham, and a bunch of other shit.
And with that, would we like to go fly through space?
Yes, please.
Go. Previously on The Atomless.
Azan, he.
Ike. She.
My name is Theriak.
What's up? My name's Sky. Welcome to the Patchwork, my dudes.
You have a lead on where the next crystal is. The planet Nos in the Vanir system.
My name's Poncho. I'm the sheriff of these areas. I'm the sheriff of Neutrino Downs.
The sun's setting on your ride here, Sheriff. The electric augmentations that the Baron has equipped onto themselves surge with electricity, and you see it burst up his chest, and this electricity bursts to his head. He jerks back, and there is this huge splatter as part of his head just explodes onto the back of the engine car. And then you hear something that you didn't think you would hear. I told you, Poncho, I'm not easy to kill. New Moors did this to me, and I'm just trying to get those years back. And this connection to immortality is severed so severely that you watch him almost rot in front of you. Time is sped up, far, far horizon. A humongous domed structure. There are hundreds, possibly thousands, of skeletons. And as the noise of Thistlebush and Poncho leave, and your new destination, the stained city of New Moors. The Baron, the man who ruled the crumbling sands of Nos, is dead. And you should feel more relief at that. But instead, you find yourself standing in a mass grave surrounded by hundreds of skeletons. Their bodies walking, crawling, sprinting away from the city that you stand in front of, stuck as the wind travels through their bones, whistling a horrid tune. The stained city of New Moors. The dome that covers this city paints the outside like stained glass. You see a large shipment container breach the atmosphere and fly through the summit of the dome, docking inside, out of sight. Whilst watching, you see another ship fly out. It looks, from up there, just like any other city. But down here, you stand in the bones of its people. The wind singing songs in their honor. Standing in this place, there is one thought that crosses everyone's minds. So, what's the plan?
We could try knocking. Did I see Ike say okay?
Yeah. I mean, like, no?
No.
Oh.
No, that was a joke.
Oh.
Sorry, my delivery was off.
It looked like they all tried to escape and just died where they stood.
Well, didn't somebody say during the big train fight that nobody gets in or out of New Moors?
Well,
So,
nobody gets out. Or out alive.
You see Flair poking around in the bones of someone who's like locked in this crawl, their arms stretching forward. It doesn't look like they were shot or hit. It doesn't even really look like they got into any conflict at all. The skeletons are perfectly intact, like they just died.
Did they become skeletons because of like decomposition, or did
Could I make
Something
a
blow up.
life science check?
You can.
Okay.
Good, because I wanted to mention mummification, but I can't because I don't have the life science.
I'm curious to see if this is mayhaps a severe bombing incident, mayhaps something reactive. All right. That's a 27.
You know that to get a real full picture on what happened to something of this size, that a sample size of just one body is simply not enough. So you spend the next few minutes hopping from body to body and collecting more of like a full picture, matching up injuries and like throwing away complete outliers of people who have just crumbled completely on the floor. And it does look like, as everyone left, most people at least, they were uninjured. They just kind of died mid-crawl or run. Some, of course, have some broken bones, and bizarrely, some people have like shots through or wounds to the head that would indicate they should have died actually a little bit ago, but they got halfway out. There doesn't seem to be any guards posted. So from what you're looking at, they just kind of look like they died. Just died.
Back when we first landed on this planet, we learned that Azam has actually read about this planet before. And I want to possibly roll culture to see if I know more about this specific city.
Okay, sure.
Alrighty, let's do that. 18.
Your memories of knowing about this city come from almost like a not from any book or from reading, but from years and years ago back on Erim, when stories of Nos were pseudo spoken word, and by pseudo spoken word they were spoken word. It is theorized by most people that you came across that Nos was one of the planets that Ifriti settled on hundreds, thousands of years ago, before they ended up traveling over to Erim. This one particular city of Nos, you don't know much about. You know that this is the last big, like, mega city. This isn't the only city, but this is definitely almost known as like the capital of Nos. Is the last like major metropolitan area.
You remember what the Baron said? They did this to him. This meaning, living a long time, being unable to kill. Maybe this is how you escape. Maybe you walk out the door and die.
Then how did he get out?
Right.
Well, it's possible that what we are seeing are not the entirety of the population, but rather the section of that population that wasn't able to survive. And perhaps there may be another group that managed to survive in spite of it, which is maybe perhaps where the Baron is from.
Or
Sure.
maybe there's a reason the Baron survived and no one else did. I mean,
Actually, in saying that, Theriac, because of your high roll, that triggers something in your mind, like the last small survey source that you needed. The Baron only really died, crumbled into dust, when the Terinium ore left his field. It was almost like that was the thing that was keeping him up. And these people, there's no ore in sight or anything of that nature.
I see. Perhaps they are like the Baron in the sense that they required the use of the Terinium in order to continue surviving. Not so much a dependency or an addiction, more of a new necessity of life, more like food, water, shelter, temperature.
Well,
Well-
you go.
well, what happens if we go in? Do we? I mean, if we go in, is there any way to know if we can come out again?
Is there?
There's no real way to tell now, since no one is really sure what is causing this. There's not enough evidence yet. But you do see ships going into this dome and then flying out again.
People have to be able to visit and leave again, because this place would need to be supplied. So
Right.
it
This
should
isn't-
be fine.
Wait, I've always wanted to try this. If I flew up there on my board and hid under the cruiser, do you think I could get away with it?
Get away with what?
Oh, but
Getting
alone?
into the city by hiding under the ship as it goes in.
Oh. Is that safe?
Can I
I've
make
already done a train robbery. Like, this will be the best
This
weekend of my
guy-
life if I
I
can do
think
that.
it would-
Right. I'm not certain that temperature and burning points really care about what your life experiences are.
Oh, right. It's in the core of the earth, isn't it?
Right. That's my main concern.
I don't think Sky knows that.
Why would
Uh,
it be hot, Dr. Theriac?
Actually,
It's
I don't
in the
think
core of the earth.
No, wait. I don't think anyone knows that it's at the core of the Earth. I think
I don't
so
think we
far you
talked
all
about
just
it.
believe it's in the city.
Right.
Oh.
It's in the dome. That's as far as everyone knows.
Yeah, I think that's all we know. Can I do either a perception check or a tactics check to see how well this little ploy of Sky's would work?
Yeah. You can give either. One of the perception will give you like you can spot ways in, how often things leave. Tactics will you can kind of know about blind spots on spacecraft.
Let's do a perception check then. 27.
You know that so ships aren't so frequent that I mean they are frequent enough that it would be a possible move. Sky could definitely hide under one and then slip in through the very top of this dome. I'll give you this because because this is my bad for not properly describing. There will, because of the way that the skeletons of people are like spread out, there are definitely just ways in. Like you could probably just walk up and attempt to get in, since all of these people have run from like all directions around it. But if you wanted like a kind of sneaky way into what would clearly be the docking area, give it a go.
You could certainly try, and they are entering from above, but it depends if the docking area has scanning abilities, you might get caught.
Maybe we should go back to plan A and knock.
I mean, it really could be that simple. They left, we could just track their path back.
I mean, a lot of y'all are very smart taps, and I understand that you're very used to all this adventuring, but I do think maybe the less overthinking course of action might be the easiest one.
Very well.
I'm gonna put my board down. Start going.
Would anyone like to do the honors of knocking?
Well, I did kind of like that idea. I maybe.
I have no opposition.
Wait, are we at the doors?
You I can imagine you'd start walking to
We
it, yeah.
walked and talked.
I just started up more as like a who will do it when we are there.
Is
Yeah.
the door open?
Not being able to see inside as you all get to the kind of base of this dome, there are these huge circular cutouts of, as you get, like when you're walking toward it, just looks like this like multicolored glass, but when you get to right in front of it, it's clearly like ore that has been cut, like jeweled ore. And as you approach, you can see a small camera at like the tip of each of these almost like semicircles that hit the base of the ground.
If we wave at the cameras.
You wave. There's this small shudder, and then as this semicircle begins to shift and move out of place and create a small opening for you.
How small?
Pretty like truck sized. The patchwork truck can pretty easily
Can fit in. Okay,
Yeah.
that was my question.
Um,
Okay.
As it does open, inside you see like clean, well-maintained like metal floors that you were expecting to see a full city as this door opens. Something akin to Upper Decks of Saga, but instead you're met with a huge docking port. It's all this is. It is this clean metal floor that holds freighters and crates. And in the center of this domed structure is a tube that, I say tube, it is a huge circular elevator that is in the center. All of these different ships and freights are like pointing toward it. There are these little automatons that are walking toward these different freighters, picking up large crates and then moving them to the elevator, putting them down. The elevator closes and shudders and then moves down this large tube. It's clearly overseen by this one, looks to be human, but is bizarrely tall. Like an 8, almost 9 foot human. Elderly, graying, little spectacles, this like very nice, fashionable suit on as they write things on a hard, light hollow pad. There are quite a few ships in this little docking yard, but one in particular, my apologies, you notice as odd. It is unlike this classic sci-fi. You have these like clean, beautiful ships that were clearly new and made to like fly through the galaxy. These like slightly more ratty, scrappy ships that are built probably for the same thing. They're just less well maintained. But this one ship looks like an old, think of a pirate galley ship. It is like, looks like it's made of wood, has these huge sails, and on the front, the maidenhead, are these giant dried tentacles that are wrapping around the mast of the ship, and hung on the tentacles is this skull, this giant skull of an unknown beast that none of you are able to determine where. On the deck of the ship, as you can see, since you're looking, it is fully like a galley ship. You see these people walking around and hauling what looks to be just skulls, heads, different parts of different creatures from throughout the galaxy, and putting them in the same elevator as these crates of building materials and resources, things which you can normally expect to be in a resource elevator. There we go.
Two questions.
Mm.
First of all, these people, you mentioned they were tall?
There's this one very weirdly tall man who is dressed in this very nice suit. He is close to the elevator, clearly checking things off of a checklist. On the galley ship, this like old classic looking, like you'd see it on the sea pirate ship, are other people walking around.
When you say tall, do you mean like naturally, like proportionally tall, like in the same way that like Shaq is like a tall human but still looks like proportionally correct?
Looks unnaturally tall, but still looks organic. You can't tell any clear signs of augmentation on any part of him. Is just very lithe and very tall.
Second question. These skeletons and skulls that are being brought in, are they of any particular species that like I can just like, not that I need details on them, but am I able to identify them just by seeing them?
You do know some of them.
Okay.
They are all of huge, dangerous game. Like big. You might have actually seen some on Idun, or at least have brought some over to Biohack. They are these like giant apex predator hunting beasts.
Interesting.
But skulls of them that the crew of this pirate-esque ship is hauling things on. And
I think Theoriac will pull everyone inside and say like,
Crew, I believe they're poachers.
Poachers of what exactly?
Very dangerous game.
What new Moors want with a bunch of remains from dangerous game?
I have no idea. The most I could think of are trophies.
Well, I mean, what if it's... people... couldn't they be using it as, like, resources? Is that something people do?
for bones?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, what good is it?
I assume that they're useful in some kind of practical, normal way. I'm fishing
What
for something.
bones?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
perfectly useful. You can use them
right.
to make houses. They make great scaffolding, glue.
But why of those species specifically? Couldn't they just raise livestock and get that much easier than finding such extreme apex predators and large, dangerous herbivores? And just
Oh,
confusing.
Well, maybe there's a museum here, Dr. Feriak.
can I?
Suppose.
Something Theriac just said. Why not just raise livestock because it's easier? Can I justify like a I'm gonna say I'm gonna go out on a limb with a physical science check to see if I can kind of make a connection to what that might imply.
To what might imply the fact that they are
The
just
fact that
hauling.
they are taking carcasses that may be useful. So it's not necessary, like they might be taking these things for useful resources, but that it would be easier to raise livestock. And like Theriac pointing out that it would be easier to raise livestock is very interesting. And I would like to see if I could justify a physical science roll.
No,
see
no,
if
go
I
on
could
then.
get
Yeah,
more
sure,
information.
give me that. I'm never gonna say no to
Okay.
a little gaining more information.
That's a 19.
Theriac knows just through how hard they've worked. They would know like possibly more about this than I would.
Mhm.
That is to say that I'm going to give you something, but I won't necessarily be able to give you like
Perfect.
what the resource would be useful. You watch them put these crates of these beautiful looking, like exact, like perfectly maintained skulls, tentacles, almost whole bodies, some which stretch like 9-10 foot, taking numerous people to like haul these. Most of them have been stripped clean. There's not like a whole lot of like flesh on these things, but numerous trips to carry bones. Some people, it takes multiple people to carry single bones. But as they're putting them in the same, this same elevator down, you spot the other crates that are being hauled into this elevator. And because you're thinking of livestock and you're thinking of food or some form of like natural sustenance that livestock entails, even though this is clearly a big haul, you kind of figure you may have come into this docking station as they just have like a big, like this is just a big haul that they're sending in. You can't imagine that a city needs this huge amount of things more than a few times a month. But you notice it is all resources for building. There's like stone and some like spare electrical components. But because you're thinking of livestock, you notice that there's no food in any of these resources, these things that they're trading. It's all metal, it's all stone, it's all wood. Building materials, there's some electrical things for like maintenance and maintaining tools.
Oh.
But there's no food in this, which might not strike you as bizarre immediately, but it's definitely of note. So unless Numors, which you have gathered together, you're not in yet, unless Numors has an incredible food system, it's a bit odd.
Dr. Theriac, what if, and I sort of gesture to the electrical supplies in particular? Well, the crystals in this city. What if somebody here has figured it out? What if they're building something to access it or maintain it or
Figure what out?
what it is, what it does? What if they're building something to, I don't know, destroy it, maintain it,
Harness
trap
it?
harness it? Yeah, maybe that's what's happening.
It's very feasible. Give you that.
In any case, I think we should stop looking around lest we be picked out as unusual. Come on.
Wait, before we go in, can I go up to Estrid?
Yeah. She's
Listen,
like looking at this like galleon ship with a lot of like revelry, soaking it in.
Listen, Astrid, I promise you complete honesty from here on out. And I'm going to start that off by saying I am really glad that you came, but you don't have any skin in this game. To be honest, again, I'm just doing this for Ig. This might be the dumbest thing I've ever done, and I've done a lot of dumb things. We're doing this because a evil-sounding rock told us to. We don't know if we're coming out of here. I don't want you going in there just to try and impress me.
Well, you got a very big idea of yourself, I'll give you that.
It's accurate.
My goal is a way off of this planet, but I don't necessarily want to be indebted to any other crew at the minute. Anyway, they seem fun, but they look like they're staying for a little bit. They look like manual labor workers. I don't think that's up my alley. I did tell Scrap that I'd follow him and you all until we figured a way off, so I intend to keep my end of the bargain.
Okay, we can get you a way off if you help us in Hell City.
Yeah.
All right, let's go before they close the door.
All right. As you all walk toward the elevator, this extremely tall man spots you all. Hello. I'm sorry, you are the guests who came in from the sands?
Guess
Yes.
that's us.
Guests, too. The beautiful docking port. Do you have business here?
We're tourists.
We have a lot of money we'd like to spend.
I am saddened to tell you this, but New Moors is an elevated city. We no longer need credits or money. We have moved beyond that. And unfortunately, our gates are closed, open only to employees, so unless you are looking for work and would like to go in, unfortunately.
Well, if I may, how do you do on entertainment?
Our people have learned to make do. Am I supposed to know you at all?
Yeah, I'm just the manager, but this is the amazing Sky. Pop princess, skateboard enthusiast, does kickflips. None of it's ringing a bell. I mean, we've been on how many holodecks now?
Azam, I thought I told you to get the visas. Why are we not being let into the city? I'm gonna freak out. Is my trailer ready to go?
My friend, I did send missive. Did none of it reach you?
You know I don't read anything you send to me.
Not you. Sky is a wonderful and amazing artist. Please do not be put off by her demeanor. She's very excited to be here, and of course will cause no problems in your great city.
That's okay. Sky, don't worry. I have your tonics. And I'm going to pass Sky a flask that's still filled with the last bit of smog wine from our party, I don't know, 4 nights ago.
I said I wanted diet smog wine. We're going to have to buy 3 cases as soon as we arrive in the city.
You got it, of course.
I'm sorry. Perhaps I could intervene a little bit. I am Miss Sky's handler for her pet that unfortunately died in a wreckage. But you may have heard of me. My name is Dr. Theriac. I am the president and co-founder of Wild Times. If you're familiar.
I am.
Poor Graviticus. He was so young.
Dr. Theriac, you say?
Correct. I have all the credentials.
Well, although we, as a city, have not much need for the entertainment. However, I am sure that we can find some way of getting you inside. But, of course, this means that you will have to meet with the directors of Freya Incorporated, which I'm sure would be a joy.
What was the company again?
Freya Incorporated.
Of course.
In the end, whether we perform or not, we really just need to repair our ship if we're to get off planet at all.
I'll see about that meeting. Please, hold tight.
Of course.
Thank you. What was your name again? I'm so sorry.
I am Mr. Haratok. I am the doorman here. I will be back. We will need to run some tests just to make sure that you are all fit and able to enter New Moors without carrying in any unusual diseases.
A quarantine period, I understand.
Of course. I will be but a short while, Doctor.
Thank you.
The moment there's some distance, I sincerely apologize. I think that's the first time I've freaked out in my life.
Oh my god, no, I loved being a pop star for 5 minutes. I was just really hoping you had a part 2 to that plan. What would have happened if they put me on a stage? I can't do my tight 5 again.
No, you would have done cool kickflips. It would have been rad.
Yeah, it's a
Feel it.
backing music. We would have found some vocals.
I've always said that we should start a band. So
It would be similar to those theatrical troupes, you know, that perform music, but also are like perform like incredible
What?
feats.
Oh
Sorry.
yes. Yeah.
You want Sky to become a voice for propaganda? Come on now. That wouldn't work.
Oh, we'd be independent. We'd be
Yeah.
our own thing.
I think Sky would be
Correct.
very good. She's good with the skateboard. Can you sing, Sky?
I don't think so. I've never tried, and I'm never gonna start, because if I start, I'm gonna find out if I'm bad, and I would just rather assume I'm good.
You don't
that's
like sing while you're like doing mundane tasks.
Showering.
Like,
Jizz,
like
things
Not,
like that.
not really. I just do like drum beats. Like,
I mean, that's also music.
Beatboxer. You're a beatboxer.
oh
We
my
are an
God.
a cappella group.
No, but that means I'd have to sing. I cannot.
No, I
sing.
think that's really good. I think honestly, I think we can all do that. I don't have
I
a
think-
great voice for it, but I think as part of a choir, we have what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people with us.
Well, I don't want to perform, but I do.
Two
I
a
don't
cappella
mind
groups.
passing you a flask every now and then. That
That's-
part was fun.
That was fun, yeah.
I
It was
just
a fun little bit that we had.
I'm very enamored with the idea of Azam performing a bass solo. That's all.
Mm.
I that company that he
Freya.
said, Matt, in
Mhm.
my time working on the upper decks, have I ever heard that name before?
Oh, you have heard that name everywhere. It
Oh,
is the
okay.
one of the biggest beauty companies in all of the galaxy. It is hugely influential. So much stuff comes out of here. This
Hey,
isn't the only like base of operations for Freya Incorporated, but it's the biggest one.
But
Oh,
they do
so
the makeup and things, cleansers and grooming things. I mean, I don't have much from them because it's quite pricey, but that's what they do.